Hello, and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons and discuss how we might include them in our role-playing campaigns. By the time this is out, we'll be back from MCM, probably.
We will be, yeah.
I bet we've had a great time.
Wasn't it awesome?
Wow, I can't believe you did that thing at Gotham's Bard, but otherwise, I think we... As always, I have a wonderful co-host, Hamilton, here. Hamilton, how are you doing, my friend?
I am very good. I'm eager to look at this actually quite interesting thing we're going to be doing today, because it's something that I remember, I want to say MCDM, what's his name? Matt Colville has done a whole book on something in regards to this. And so I think this is kind of interesting and something that a lot of players want to do. Which is what, Fiona?
Absolutely. So yes, burying the lead. But so obviously in the past we've looked at lots of Unearthed Arcana, but this, the newest Unearthed Arcana that's just come out, has actually piqued our interest a little bit. It is the Bastions and Cantrip Unearthed Arcana. So today we're going to look at the Bastions section of it. So this idea of creating almost like a HQ, a lair, whatever you want to call it, for your player characters. I think this is something that happens in pretty much most role-playing games. Like, there's inspiration definitely from here, from like Blades in the Dark, this idea that you have a lair, you upgrade it and you look after it over time. I'm sure Critical Role had their own little keep at the beginning.
Grayskull Keep.
I've had it in my own campaign where we had not only just rooms in a very nice headquarters, but we also had a flying ship at one point, which we had to get the
airship. Cool.
Yeah. So this idea of having a safe house or a safe space that your players could do their downtime in, or just somewhere where between adventures, what are they doing? And so now we have 5th edition new edition rules for it, because I do believe that they were in previous editions, I think 2nd edition as well, but now it's sort of like, let's formalize it, let's just put something in there together. And overall I think that there's a lot of pages to it. There's a lot of admin for running your own fantasy house.
I love how there's like design notes. It's like, we want the goal to be spent to make them happy, as opposed to feeding like mortgage payments.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it definitely felt like that at times for us when we were in our game. Not that I'm complaining about it at all, but it was just a bit like, do we have enough money to do an upgrade on the guns? Like conversations that we were having with ourselves. But I will say what I quite like about it is that Bastions in general gives this idea of getting creative control over to players. And something that I watched in their little video about it with Jeremy Crawford, he said that we've been on both sides, both you and I, that we have been both players and DMs. And sometimes players really want to become DMs, but it's very daunting. Well, this is almost like a little mini step so that it can control making their own little space, working out like the ins and outs of it with the Bastion points and upgrades and all that sort of thing. And I thought that was really interesting.
So is Sims like an entry drug to DMing?
Pretty much right. And also, again, you would know this as well with Waterdeep Dragon Heist. That's the word. Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Dragon Deep Water Heist.
Yeah, brain. But also they had like the pub there that you could do as well. But this is a bit more, that was more of a sort of service or investment you could run at the same time, or you had to run a little bit. This is, you can leave this place. You don't have to be at your Bastion all the time. It's sort of like, whilst you're out on an adventure, you could go, meanwhile, what's happening back at your keep? What you're doing that as well. So what is your first impressions of the Bastion Unearthed Arcana that you sort of had a quick look through?
It's a thing I think a lot of players want, and I think it's offering that in a really interesting way. I think the amount of detail it's gone into is great, because I actually think that has aided it in making it something very malleable and unique, even though they've tried to define things. There's a lot to be chosen from. Interesting enough, in Bowie's for Jareth, I obviously made rules for the Labyrinth. So I gave the Labyrinth the ability for Jareth and Chloe to choose that they could bring characters to their, it was a bit like the mansion, I forget, the Marvelous Mansion or whatever it is.
Mordekaisen's mansion.
Yeah. So a bit like that, and said that you can take friends and you can go there at any time in and out of your like demi-plane, and at different levels or the amount of bell slots and etc. You get different amount of like spaces that you can choose, and they gave different things for different rooms. So like the bedroom, you recover any effects on you. And you would gain all exhaustion points from one sleep in the bedroom. I think the other one was, if you had a lit dining room, you would gain temporary hit points for the food, like a hero piece thing. I think the library would give you the ability to gain intelligence saving throws the next day, stuff like that, little things like that. And that's done similar things like this, but in a more even like in the ways that they had in the Critical Role, where it's like tinkering checks and using the sort of downtime rules that they have in Xanathar's and sort of applying that to a stronghold or a keep that has people working away for you. So like, you know, when I remember they wanted to get in Critical Role a teleportation circle built, and they had to employ a certain number of people to do it every day to build the teleportation, but that can be happening in the background, and things like that are happening here. So your original question wasn't exactly that, but it was like, what do I think? Yes, good.
Yes.
Like it.
Another thing that came out of the video was like that we can use these rules right now in our campaigns. We don't have to wait. They've been deliberately made right now to just test it out and try it, which I love. And what I like about it as well, like it's very easy planning. It's like you give your players a space. And interesting enough, it could be individually, you could be your character's own individual keeps, or you could combine them to be one keep together with your other groups. So you don't all have to be in the same space. I think the only thing I have on that is, we'll get onto it a little bit, is that you have these things called Bastion encounters. So if you're away at some point, you might have to roll to be like, oh, what happens whilst you're away? And that might be an attack or something like that, which won't be a problem. It just means like, oh, whilst you're away, something happens. But if you have to do that for 5 different people and you have to resolve 5 different things compared to, say, 1 if everyone's together, I don't know. That's the only thing I was like, oh, I don't want to spend. Yeah, because I feel like this shouldn't be something that you have to spend a lot of time on. I think that's my thing. Because it should be something that's fun with the role play stuff. But then all the benefits you get, you should be able to resolve it within like 5 minutes. You know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, people love a good shopping episode, so I can now see a new thing being a Bastion episode.
They bloody do, don't they?
Yeah, and it just be part of it. And people like a good admin. Buy stuff, upgrade stuff, you know, play a bit of Sims basically. And I can, and I like the idea that when they describe the different types of keeps for different people, like a stronghold for a paladin maybe, or like a fighter might want to go for something more like that, you know, bit generic, I guess, but like you could see it having like, well, you've got the wizard's tower as part of your keep, which then also has a shrine to the cleric's god or deity of choice, and then you've got the monk might have a good training ground, you know, in the area, and you know, stuff like that I could see as being, you can see it all combined, but also you can imagine a lot of wizards being like, I want my own little wizard's tower that is out in
I want my own tower. I don't want to be with you with your own smelly fighters and barbarians.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess for me, I'm always like, oh, keep it convenient, everyone's in the same house.
No, I would agree. Normally it's like you'd all be together.
I'm on the top floor, you're on the bottom floor, you know, all that sort of thing.
Oh, you know, you could be, you know, the sort of like early days of relationship thing of the like, well, I keep my own flat just in case. So I keep my own tower. Yeah, we'll have a group tower. We'll have a group one.
That's incredible.
But I'm gonna keep some of my clothes at my other tower.
Just to have it there.
Just to have it there. It doesn't mean anything about the relationship.
No, just having it there. Just, you know, you don't need all my stuff. It's quite small.
No, yeah, I don't want to take up the room in your cupboards. You know, like yeah, exactly. And also, it means there's no clutter, right?
So the idea is how it works essentially is that for every 7 days in game, we go, we're now going to do a Bastion turn. And then you can choose to, if you're at the Bastion, you can then do something with either the special rooms we'll come into. So there's things called basic facilities and then special facilities that you can upgrade.
I know it says you can change to 7 days, but I think for a game that is fundamentally a 10-day, it's kind of really interesting to go for
it should be a 10-day, right? It should be a 10-a-day. It should be. Yeah, absolutely. And I think also it does say like, well, you know, if you're away for long periods of time, or if you're there for longer, you can change this up, but it absolutely should be a 10-a-day for sure. That's the whole Faerun calendar, right?
This is literally the Faerun calendar, and it's like, why not go for 10-day? It felt weird. That was all. It was just...
no. I think that's a flavoursome thing. Absolutely, it totally makes sense. It helps if you're at the Bastion to do those special facilities, because then you can have that role play moments, and then each facility has special requirements. That it makes sense that you, as a project manager, would be there organising it. Or you could just say resolve, and basically they all just do a maintenance check essentially, and you roll 1d4 for each of your special facilities, and that's how many Bastion points you get. And Bastion points means prizes. You can swap them for various levels of magical artifacts that you can go and source and find. You can spend them at the end of every level upgrade so that you can spread your renown, that you're more of a popular hero. Or you can spend 100 points. So
I know.
If you die, and then you can reappear at your Bastion the next day. Now, I'm not a big fan of that last one, I'll be honest. I feel like you've got so many magical items that are going to come up, so many ways that you will save yourself. It feels, for me, a little bit of a cheat. It's going to be hard to get 100 Bastion points, don't get me wrong.
That's what I mean, it will, yeah.
But I don't know, I'm just a bit like...
I was kind of on board with it, because I kind of see the reasoning behind it is that you've got to that point where you've got people that look after you, and you are heroes of the land. Plot armor should be in place, really, shouldn't it? So, yeah, I feel that that's the sort of thing, is that you you would have that ability to have people get you home and be sort of like, oh, I passed out and oh, I'm back at my keep, and it makes sort of sense.
Then the flip side of that then is that I think it should be a D6 of Bastion points per facility, because I feel D4 is I guess I understand it's like you're putting them on maintenance mode, they're on the back burner, so they're not doing anything too much. But I'm like, a D4?
Yeah, boring.
And again, maybe just because I'm like, well, as we level up, it would be quite nice to be like, oh, at level 10, it's a D10. You have a higher dice value for the Bastion points, and then maybe that means that the resurrection stuff is a little bit higher as well. I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit low. Those values are a bit low for me personally, but I like the mechanic about like, yes, put them in maintenance mode and then we'll get some Bastion points. But if you were in the Bastion and you're like, I want to go to this room and do something, sometimes you get more Bastion points depending on what the room's purpose is. I just feel like maybe the generation of Bastion points on D4 is a bit low. I would just put it as a D6 as standard, but maybe I'm just being very finicky about that. I don't know. Like, I just feel D4s are always like, okay.
It's a bit mean, isn't it? It's a bit like...
It's mean. Yeah, it is mean. It's got things about like combining bastions, like what kind of basic facilities, like giving you like a bit of inspiration for the player to be like, what stuff would you want in here? And is there a walk-in closet? How many windows does it have? And you're like, okay.
Is there a walk-in closet? It's so American.
Yeah, and then it's like, here is how we can, here's the room size. So you can start off with like a medium room size and then a cramped one. But if you want to upgrade, here's these goals and how long it's going to take. And you're like, oh no.
Cramped, roomy, vast is British roomy. Do you know what I mean? It's cramped.
London.
Yeah. So it should be like London roomy, British countryside roomy, and then American roomy is the thing, because like going off like American living rooms being like the size
massive.
Of most.
It's like
flats.
What, you have a TV above your fireplace? Wow. When you get your Bastion at level 5, you can get 2 special facilities, and then you get another 2 at level 9, another 1 at level 13, and then another 1 at level 17. So in total, you only get 6 special facilities per Bastion, or per part of per Bastion. And there's so many options. You can really, you can really customize what you want, which is quite cool.
Also, good value for money. If it was converted 1 GP to pounds, you're getting a lot for your money.
Absolutely.
And build times are quick as well.
I mean, maybe fantasy workers are just a bit more, I don't know, maybe they're unionized or they're just really hardworking. I don't know. It's quite...
I think it must be 100%.
Just a quick example of like some of the rooms we've got stuff like the Arcane Study, we've got a garden, we've got workshop gaming hall, so you could like host a little festival and get some money through the gamings there. There is a scriptorium, which I saw, all the way up to stuff like meditation chamber, the pub we talked about before.
Yeah, pub, love it. I love it. A theatre, great. And I think observatory is really cool. A demi-plane, just because I just have one. There's the war room.
The war room. Absolutely.
I like how they've also got this order. So there's this whole different, the sort of different order. So on Bastion turn, the characters can issue special orders for one or more of the Bastions, and the character needn't issue orders to all of them. The different ones are like craft, empower, harvest, maintain, recruit, research, and trade. And then each of those rooms is given a sort of order that you can, when you make that order, they then engage. That's how I understand it. So it'd be like craft. That means, okay, so the ones like the Arcane Study, they will start crafting an item that can be made in that facility. And that's like how you then get your magical items built. Is how I'm understanding that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice. Yeah, like you said, they're quite simple one-word things like maintain, research, trade, etc.
Like command.
Yeah, command. Like we said in the last episode, it's like grovel, as it also eat, drink. So one of the other things I quite liked, and you spoke about it just before we came on recording, is that some of these rooms have like the pub, for example, they'll have, here is also a table of the things you could sell at the pub, and Bigby features quite heavily in quite a few of these things.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Bigby's everywhere. They're in the reference book. Bigby's handy. Okay, Arcana Codex. I like that. And then there's also the pub.
Bigby Burden.
Oh, it's a drink. Yeah, beverage. Drinking this beverage grants you the enlarge effect of an enlarge reduce spell that has a duration of 24 hours for which you get no saving throw. I think they're all fun. I think the Arcane Study is great. That's where you get to make craft arcane focuses.
Well, like the guild hall as well, like you become like the patron of a guild hall, and then there's like, here are some sample guilds and assignments you get. So they, you know what, all the tables in this, you don't have to roll for them, you just pick one that's your fancy. And I'm like, these are really well detailed and interesting. And like I said, the guilds, for example, they'll be like, Adventurers Guild, here is their symbol, here is their first quest, but the DM can make up other ones as well. So you're like, oh my god, even more mini games and side quests. It's I really like it.
The armory and the barracks also also helps you with your defense, which becomes another mini game when there's the Battle of the Bastion or whatever it's called.
At the end. The garden has 4 different types of garden. It could be decorative, and you can sell bunches of flowers to people. So they've gone like, it's gone like, what else can we do with these rooms? It's like
the gaming hall becomes a gambling den at the end of the 7th day, roll percentage dice and consult the gambling den winnings table to determine how much portion of it, because the house always wins. So if you get like a D100, you can get up to 10d6 times 10. So like 10d6 would be 60 times, so 600 gold if you've done the best.
If you roll amazingly, Yeah, so all of these rooms, and obviously this is only just a non-exhaustive list. I'm sure that, again, DM's Guild will have like, here are 100 rooms you can put in your Bastion. I really like that. There's like a menagerie as well, if you wanted to be like, I'm going to have a zoo just randomly, and then some of those animals, depending what the kind of, like, would you like to fight as part of the defenses? Of course you would. Put a polar bear on the barracks. Exactly. Put that owl bear out.
Giraffe as a siege weapon. Garden. I mean, the garden gives you really cool things. Like you can get decoration, which gives you perfume that you can sell for £5, but also you get the herbs that are used to create a potion of healing, which is quite good. Or poisons or antitoxins, which are quite good, and you can harvest those. In the greenhouse as well gives you those as well. So harvest healing herbs and harvest
like poisons.
The guild halls are great. The Jewelries Guild, the Adventurers Guild, Cartographers Guild. Also, you pay them 500 GP to produce a map of a known adventure location and deliver it to your Bastion in 7 days. It's cool, right?
Nice. Or I think I would highly recommend checking out this UA anyway. Like, obviously, there's stuff about the cantrips which we won't cover in this particular episode, but it's just like, it actually gives a really nice, simple framework. And of course, you don't have to use all the rooms. You're like,
meditation chamber, great. You can get fortified saves. You meditate in the facility.
Amazing.
Fortify mind, body, and spirit. If you leave the Bastion during the time, you gain no benefit. But otherwise, at the end of the 7th day, you gain advantage on 2 kinds of saving throws for the next 7 days, chosen randomly from the 4 to 5 saves. So you can have advantage on any strength, dex, con, in whiz or charisma, which is, really great. Needs no Highlands either. You just literally, space is cramped by default. It's not even a meditation chamber. It's a one of those sensory deprivation chambers, basically, in the corner.
Where's Simon? Woo! Something that you were saying off podcast was that you would love it if they had like example mats or example like floor plans that you could give to players rather than because they don't have it in this one. But I love that idea. You can give that, and you're like, okay, I'm actually going to set up my room with minis and stuff. Yeah, we've had battle maps in our rooms in our level 21. Somebody, I won't say who, it wasn't me, let in a vampire, and then we had to do a massive big fight in our rooms.
Love it.
And it was incredibly tense at the time. But afterwards, I looked at it and I thought, that's such a cool thing.
To be honest, as an architect who can make 3D models of buildings, I would so be up for making, like, if I had a long running campaign to like build it, design it, get it all as like a 3D model. Yeah, I think that'd be really fun.
That'd be super cute. Yeah, by the end of the campaign, you just go, here it is, and everyone's going, they're losing their shit over their different bastions and stuff. And then he was talking about it before, like the fall of a bastion. So the only reason that it would, you might want to get rid of the bastion for whatever reason is basically if you just don't do anything.
Oh yeah, it's like National Trust has to turn up and take it over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they reclaim it back on it's looted and then burnt to the ground, perhaps. You're not. You can give it up at any time, and then that's when it's looted and burnt, or you just don't do anything and it just becomes a part of history. I would personally put in that fact that an attack, if you're not there, can take it out essentially, and you have to rebuild it out. Like they had these encounters where you could attack it and you will lose some defenders and stuff, but it's not the same. Like if you can come back to life at your bastion the next day, I think there should be a chance.
What is it with the worlds? It's like, you leave a building, burn and loot it.
Yep. Pillage.
I mean, to be fair, like it's what happened throughout like antiquity. I mean, like I was at a National Trust house the other day, and it was when they dissolved the monasteries in the UK. Henry VIII just like said, "Well, have this land," gave it to his mates, and his mates went to the monasteries, took the stone, built a little hunting lodge out of the stone. So the stone is just like from the old monastery. But it's the same like Villa d'Este, which is Hadrian's Villa, if you know Hadrian's Villa outside Rome. It's a huge old Roman villa of the wall fame, Hadrian's wall. But down the road, there was a Roman something or other, a prince, like post-Roman Empire person, Renaissance era, built Villa d'Este, beautiful building. But yeah, most of all the stone there is just nabbed from this old Roman villa down the road, and that's what they just did. So it's kind of true. They do that pillage,
I guess that feeling, you'd be like, where's half the wall? And you just look down the road and it's a new co-op or something.
No, it's literally there. Well, yeah, it's basically like that, exactly, yeah.
You can get rid of your Bastion, or it can fall to it, but it's mostly because due to inaction from the players, which I think is fine, but it doesn't feel as much of as a threat as some of these events.
I think, though, if they know orders to their Bastion for a number of consecutive Bastion turns equal to the level, so you get it at level 5.
Yeah, so it's 5. So 5 times 7 is...
7. Oh, come on, that's 35. We know that's a month. You don't talk to them for a month.
But then you could be on a different plane. You could be exiled. You could be gone through the Feywild. You know,
I feel it's a bit like if you do like I'm going away for a month. You don't think your house would burn down and get looted? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think you would say if I don't come back, I'm going to the Feywild, guys. Just so you know.
Oh, but you are no, but you can use a turn to maintain if you're away, can't you?
You can, yeah. I guess it's just something as if like you have no communication. Oh, yeah, I don't know, something like that. Or like you like you said, you have that time dilation because you go to different planes and it's much faster.
Oh yeah, I did do that in my Waterdeep Dragon Heist. So they went to the Shadowfell and had the time dilation issue, which meant they came back 6 months later. And which was good for story reasons, but also I just made it like, well, everything's fixed on the building and someone else is living there and it's fine, you know, you'll still own it. But they were like, where the heck have you been?
Where have you been? This is our place. We reclaimed this place. And some of the Bastion events are quite fun. Obviously, there's like if you roll into D20, 1 to 9, nothing happens. Other than attack, you have lost hirelings, like some of the people that you've hired, they just disappear. Refugees come, there's friendly visitors, request for aid, honoured guest comes.
Love it. Yeah.
I love that one.
It gives you some good honoured guests as well with some events to happen, which is quite fun. The guest is a dragon.
Some other flying monster that perches atop your Bastion until the next Bastion turn, or is killed or driven off. It is indifferent towards others. So it's just there going, no.
This is mine for now.
I stay here. Yeah, it's proper cat mode, right? It's like...
really is, yeah.
Yeah, magical discovery as well, that you find a magical item, but it can't be a suit of armor, a shield, or a weapon, and its magic is only temporary, but you still have something. So like a rod of immovability, you just have, and then
that's a bit white. Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe you go. Is magic? I wouldn't make the magic temporary. I would say the magic isn't temporary, but its ownership is temporary. I like that. Like,
yes, better.
That belongs in a museum,
and that's kind of it. Again, just a whistle stop tour of all these different. Like I said, it's just I think you can easily take it and put it into any campaigns that you're starting or any ones that, you know, using it some of the older adventures. I just think it's really nice and straightforward. Yeah, I really like it as well.
There's a lot here. I'm always about giving more to players to play with. And these are all really like thematic. They've all got loads of really cool things to it. Even just taking those drinks, just like I said, there's the Big Bee's Bird, and there's the Kiss of the Spider Queen, which is drinking this beverage grants you the effect of a spider climb spell. Moonlight Serenade, drinking this beverage gives you dark vision within 60 feet for the next 24 hours. If you already have dark vision, its range is extended by 60 feet. Positive reinforcement.
Yes.
Resistance to necrotic damage or sterner stuff makes you immune to the frightened condition. I mean, you know, I think that's great. All fun little things to have.
Tib in our Discord, he recently put together some homebrew rules for crafting beer and stuff like that, which he asked people to talk about. This was maybe a little while ago from time of recording, but I can imagine if someone's really interested in brewing stuff, then whatever they brew could become on tap at this pub that they've got in, you know, all that sort of thing. Like it's something, this system, you can easily incorporate anything else you're trying quite easily.
Yes.
And like you said, it becomes the shopping episode. So maybe you go, okay, this session, we're just going to do downtime. We're just going to chat it through. Because people do love hypotheticals, I guess that's the thing.
Someone's made a 1-page getting drunk in Morkborg thing called Piss Drunk. But what's quite fun is you do a series of toughness checks after each drink. And so what I love about it is after the first drink, you get like, you do a drunken jig, you make a merry thing, and nothing, you know, and you receive either a day's free food, 20 silver, or an unclean scroll for doing like being good. But if you survive the first one, get to the second one, everyone gets really angry at you, right? So the first one's good if you fail the roll on the first one, and but if you fail it on the second time, it's bad. If you get to the third one and succeed, you end up like gaining all these benefits for like being basically pickled. So it's really cool.
Yeah, more homebrew rules for drinking in games. It seems 100%. Like that's the message of this episode.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was just a whistle-stop tour looking at the Bastion stuff. I know, it's just very simple, really. Again, like you can get a lot out of it. It feels like a lot because it's 23 pages, but actually it's quite condensed, and you can easily, you go, what's this room? And just skip to it. So yeah, thanks for quickly looking at that with me, because I was like, oh, let's check it out. It's really interesting.
No problem.
So, Hamilton, what's on the horizon? Anything if you can't think of anything, because I'd appreciate it, we're recording this in a big batch, that's the behind the scenes stuff. Is there anything you would like to recommend, either TV or book or anything RPG wise?
We already talked about The Bear. We didn't know. We talked about that on Hazard Strikes, but I will talk about this. The Bear on Disney Plus.
Good. So good.
So good. It's just so good. Cuz. Oh no, I just one of the best TV shows I've seen in a long time.
If you wanted to watch The Bear, I just want to say that is like a kitchen deli in Chicago, and it's just a really good one. My recommendation of that recommendation is watching Boiling Point, which is like the UK equivalent on iPlayer just now, because they've got the film, which was shot all in one shot.
Right.
The first series has just come out with 4 episodes, which isn't shot in one shot, but it's incredibly tense, and content warnings about it. You think it's stressful working in a kitchen? It's very stressful working in the kitchen. So
The Bears. So at first season is like just shout.
My heart really. But yeah, good recommendations there. So I appreciate it.
What about you? Have you got any recommendations?
Recommendations other than obviously listening to our podcasts and watching Hazard Stripes and obviously where. So I've been trying to read more fiction books, because I've been one of those. The reason why I started the Ian's book club in the first place, as you know, is that I couldn't read fiction during the pandemic. So I started reading non-fiction, making notes about it. So I'm trying to get back into fiction now. And I read recently Yellowface by R.F.
We saw that together when we were in London, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Very interesting story.
I've read it. It's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. It's not what you expect. You think, it's a very interesting point of view. So this idea that's a white author steals off her friend who dies accidentally, and steals off her copy, which is about obviously her heritage and stuff like that, and passes it off as her own, and the consequences of cultural appropriation, toxic friendships, all sorts of things. Very readable. It had me gripped.
It did sound like very interesting and just engaging with that theme in a really like super toxic way, which sounds just kind of like, you can imagine it's one of those like it's just all going to go wrong, and you just kind of
fear for her quite a bit. But then like I said, it's also an interesting take at like how publishing works, and how when you've written something, someone goes, could you change this and change this and change this, to the point where you're like, it's not what the original was at all. And so absolutely fascinating. Tell you what, I'll bring it to, you can take it from when we're you're here for Comic-Con. So you can borrow my copy, because it's highly recommend that. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Bye everyone. And I'm watching Narcos at the moment. That's mainly because I'm pretending I'm learning Spanish by doing it.
Duolingo not cutting it for you anymore.
Well, I'm still doing it. I'm on 98-day streak.
Whoa!
Boom. Says it there.
Pretty good. Have you done today?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I did do today. Yeah,
I was going to say you've got like an hour and a half before. Yeah. So
hey, look, he's happy.
He's happy.
He goes like this, like halfway through the day, and then he gets like, there's a weird one where he's got a face on his bum, and I don't quite know why that's something that's like, do you know, have you seen it?
I don't use Duolingo at all, because I find it threatening.
Oh my gosh, I've got it. I was just like, because it gets progressively like, at first it's like brain open time is the picture, and then it's like, hey, and then it's like, I've got a face on my bum. And I'm like, hang on. I'm just Duolingo bum face.
On.
Did the bum.
Oh, what is this? Yes.
What is it? Yeah.
Let's practice. That's so weird.
How weird is that? Why has he got a bum on his face?
Yeah, I don't get that.
The last chance one you get when it's after 11 o'clock is hilarious. But yeah, you get a screaming head in a head thing, but the double bum?
Oh, so according to Reddit, I think he's painted his face on his bum, laugh my ass off. And then someone's gone and shoved a carrot up his ass for the beak.
It's the weirdest thing, right?
Oh God!
You see, there's another one where he has a little bum, but it's just like Duolingo. Why?
Anyway,
I don't know. It doesn't. Whenever that's on, I'm like, I don't want to practice. I don't want to practice.
This is a whole world I've not been privy to at all before this.